Hello and welcome to the training video. In this video I'm going to go over how to import bills. There's two possible ways to do this. The first is simply copying and pasting data into metrics. So what we're going to do to start out is we have a blank metrics here. I'm going to start up a brand new file. And if you want to make a new project, the first thing you're going to need to do is look at your meters. You're going to want to name it properly, so let's name this electric 1. Give it an account number. I'm going to change the import name. We'll leave it as account number XYZ electric 1. We're going to go to the register, and as you notice it's blank right now. There's nowhere for me to actually put bills. What I'm going to need to do is right click, add a new row, and I can enter manually from here. Another option that I have is say I have some bill data already in Excel, just like this. I'm going to I'll start with these build dates. If you notice here, I have a gas meter and an electric meter, so I'm actually only going to be doing the gas meter for this example. I'll copy down the dates, pull out metrics again, and paste. It's going to make an entry for me for each one of those bills. Now so far everything's blank, so I'm going to go back into my sample file. I'm going to pull the total cost, and as you can see, this might take a little while. We're going to copy paste it into the total dollars. You can see what the process would be like. It's fairly simple, it's fairly straightforward, and it's nice if your data is not in any good format already. There is an alternative to this, and that alternative is to make an MT1 file, which is a specific import style that Metrics uses, and you can make it in Excel. So let's delete this site, and we're going to make a new one. And what we're going to do here is we're going to populate it using an MT1. So to start out, let's go back to our sample data. And this is what it looks like so far. As you could see before, you could only import 1 meter at a time. What we're going to do here is we're going to import all of this data at once using the MT1 format. The MT1 format can be found in your user guide in Appendix C. As you can see, it's got a list of some restrictions you have. The major ones, no commas, dollar signs. The first 11 columns have to have data. And you have to save it properly. Saving it properly is actually a little trickier than just saving it as they say. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through how to make it. Here they have the names and headings for each of the columns, which I've gone ahead and made an Excel file that has all these in them. As you can see, I've copied a lot of the data over. This first column format ID is going to be MT1. It has to be, there's no getting around that. The second one is your meter name, which for these I've selected area 1 for both, and to specify whether it's gas or electric, I've put a -G or a -E. That's the standard we use here at Abraxas, and it's a pretty easy one once you're navigating the tree structure to figure out what you're looking at. Next is the account number. I can use the same account number for all of the meters because they have different meter names. The next is the utility type. For gas, this is by therms, so it's a G. And for electric, this is kilowatt hours and kilowatts, so that's an E. These next two columns are required. These are the conversion factors from BTUs and BTUs per hour to your units. Those are provided in the next portion of the user guide. If you scroll down just past these, you'll see a big table of all of the options, the fuel code associated with it, and what the conversion factors need to be. This is what Metrics is using to make sure that your data comes in the right units. So heading back to the MT1 format, the next thing you'll notice is that year, month, and day are split into 3. If you go back to our sample data, it wasn't actually like that. This was our bill date. So what I'm going to do real quick is show you how to get that easily. So I'm going to split this into year, month, day. If you type equals year in Excel, you can pull the year out. The same goes for month and for day. You can see right now it's not actually in the right format. I changed those to general and they're all correct. I drop this down and I get all of the data that I need. I can now take this, copy it over into my MT1, which you can see I've done already. These two, we're just moving it over from the previous bill. The total cost, I've put in my miscellaneous charge, which is my customer charge. Even though I don't have a credit or a tax charge, I've included them as blank columns because you need to have a blank there. On-peak dollars is the cost associated with your on-peak usage, as we've said before. And here is the actual usage itself. Those have to go in columns O and P. We also had demand for our electric meter, so if you look in columns W and X, that's on-peak demand and on-peak demand dollars. We don't have it for gas because gas usually isn't charged in terms of demand, but you still need to have blanks there. I wouldn't recommend putting in zeros, otherwise you're going to import zero values, and Metrics is going to think you have demand for a gas meter. Once we've gotten it to this point, what I'm going to do is there's two tricks we recommend doing to make sure everything's in its proper format. First, I'm going to select all, Control A, copy, I'm going to paste special. What that's going to do is make sure I can get in as values. So you select values here and click OK. That ensures that we don't have any equations in our Excel spreadsheet, which you can't handle in an empty one. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these header rows. We don't need them anymore. Select all again and make sure we're in the general format. This is also required. Now that we're like this, the next thing we have to do is save it. So you go File, Save As, and you're going to select CSV. So type C, it'll take you to comma delimited, and you can save it whatever you want. So we're going to call this test, and we're going to end it with .mt1. We're going to put it in quotes just to be safe, and then we're going to save it to our folder. So we click Save. Do I want to replace this? Yes. Test mt1. For this answer, the answer is yes. Then you're going to close it, and this answer is actually no. If you click yes, it's going to mess up the process, so just click no. So now you've created an mt1. What we're going to do now is go back to our metrics project and click the import button, which is this downwards facing plane. I click it, go to my desktop, here's my test.mt1 file, and I click open. I don't actually have weather yet on my site, but I haven't imported any yet, so that's okay. We'll just click no for now. These are our two areas, actually our 2 meters that we're associating with an area. And what we're going to do is we're going to select all, and I'm just going to say create a new project meter from the imported meters. So I click OK. Shows up in a brand new site of new meters. Here we have Area 1 gas with our $25 miscellaneous charge, all of our things. And here we have the electric charge, and as you can see, it's imported demand, it's imported consumption. You've done the detailed cost for both, all of the bill dates are correct, and everything is as it should be. This is a little bit easier than just copy pasting, but getting the hang of the format can be a little bit difficult. That's all you really need to know to import bills. Just make sure you follow the format carefully, make sure everything goes into the column that it's supposed to be, everything's in the general format, and make sure there's no equations anywhere in your spreadsheet, and you should be fine.